Four major decisions we make in our dentistry lives: finding a job, buying a practice, hiring an associate, and selling that practice. Talking Nachos is dedicated to helping you increase success and decrease stress along your journey. Whether it's adding new technology to your practice to streamline it, make it more fun or profitable, whether it's protecting your assets to make sure you're figuring out the right treatment plan, not only for your patients, but also for your life. We have an awesome show for you today. We have amazing sponsors with us. I'm ready for my first guest. My team is ready to bring them up. I have Mary Fisher Day, one of my favorite people. Awesome name, same name as my amazing wife. And Mary gets to help people on the buy and sell side. And the buy is often a happy side. The sell can be an unhappy, a poignant, and sometimes tragic side. And the real part of life is talking about the JBR, the just be real. As a practice transitions broker myself, Mary, I get called in for happy things and unhappy things. So just before you tell us your story today, just tell us what you do in your daily dental Mary Fisher Day life to help dentists be successful, not be too stressed, and protect themselves.
I feel like I answer a lot of questions on my daily life, but I really want to help them transition into and out of dentistry with transparency and confidence that nothing is being left undone or uncovered for them. In all honesty, that's what I do. So answering a lot of questions is what I do. I do some research and digging and looking under the reports and everything to figure everything out as well. And then advising dentists who are thinking about or are ready to sell, advising them on what they need to do to be prepared.
And one of the things I thought, you can text Mary to 215-543-6454. She's an awesome sponsor. She gives us great Nacho deals. And you want to talk to someone like her about your journey. What I thought about, just as we were talking, Mary, is most, if not all of the time, you buy a practice on your own terms. No one really can reach into your proverbial pocket and make you buy a dental practice. So what's interesting is you're doing this on your own terms. And I think that's really important for dentists to realize. But selling a dental practice can be completely not on your terms. So Talking Nachos is about sharing stories to help, and they're not always happy stories. Tell us what you'd like to share with us today.
I'm dealing with a super dental practice right now where they lost their dentist. He died. And there was no preparations in place, anything.
So what I want to just point out, and this is an important thing for me to take a minute to do, Mary, because I'm a dental practice owner, and it always makes me think that I need to be planning more. As much as you plan, you need more plan, is that we all know how these dental circuses run. And I dealt with this personally, but my brother and I were working the practice. My own father died suddenly, but he had other dentists in the practice. So as devastating as it was for me personally and professionally, as difficult as it was and devastating, the dental practice was taken care of because we had multiple other licensed dentists working there. We had 6 other licensed dentists working there. So in the short term, I could get associates to cover emergencies. And as much as I didn't feel like dragging myself back in, I could come back in licensed. But are you dealing with a solo general practice there, or a solo dentist?
I'm dealing with a solo practice where the spouse knew nothing about the practice, nothing about dentistry, and the spouse had their own business, their own personal business. They're very busy, and now they're having to figure out how to deal with this $1.2 million practice.
Most of the time, this multi-million-dollar practice does not have the person running it, but it still has team members that need to be paid. It still has bills that need to be paid for rent, whether you own your building yourself. It still has patients that have dental problems. So what is happening now, and how would someone work to create a treatment plan to prevent this?
Well, what's happening now is they finally found an associate to come in and work the practice while we're trying to get it sold. And what somebody can do to prepare for this is have an emergency exit plan, an emergency exit strategy, some call it, and an emergency directive. So an emergency directive.
What does it look like? Let's say we constantly, I'm doing treatment plans. Do 2 fillings, 1 crown, 1 implant. Do the fillings first. if you were just bringing this to life with your words, what does this emergency directive look like? Is it a checklist of who to call? Is it passwords? Is it things? Just tell us a little bit about this.
It's everything you just mentioned and more. It's everything in one place and together. And it's not just a checklist, it's actually filled in.
Yeah.
It's a checklist, but it's filled in with the details of what needs to take place to sell the practice or whatever you're planning to do with it. You could have a child that is a dentist that you're passing it on to. There's so many other things that it could be, but an emergency directive puts it all in one place, so you have no problem taking care that practice being taken care of immediately, and you don't have to have the ones that love you the most, the ones that are in the most pain mourning you, come in and deal with that and
Well,
worry.
what happens is, and I'll share this authentically, and you have the amount of work you have to do, even when there is planning for these things, for the person's personal and professional life, especially a dental practice owner, is crushing on the people that have to do it while they're being emotionally crushed. But you still got to get up and answer phone calls and check your emails and send this thing in. And I'm sure, Mary, that this is the way it's supposed to be. But my experience was everybody thought I was doing fraud every day because they said, are you really the person who can make these decisions, right? So this is when you have these things in place. If you don't have these things in place, I actually just went for my own personal will. And I said, I lose a lot of things, Mary. I lose my AirPods while they're in my ears and stuff. So I said to the attorney, I go, if I lose this, you have a copy, right? He goes, yeah, but they're not going to let like your wife do anything for 30 days. He's like, don't lose your copy, right? It's like your own wife sometimes, right? Your own main person. So
Exactly.
Let's say somebody's watching and we want to move them forward. We want to aware them. We want to scare them. Working with you, what's the process? They text in, they reach out to you. What do you do? Do you sit with the husband and wife, the practice owner and their brother, the practitioners? Tell us a little about this process.
Yeah, I'd like to sit with them, talk to them, and get an emergency exit plan going for them. Even if they don't die and they become disabled and unable to make decisions about the practice themselves, it's still a very similar situation. And some may say, well, I'm dead. What do I care? Well, if you care about the people who love you at all, you should care what happens. I've actually heard that line from people.
I like to not annoy people. So I would like to try to create a plan to not annoy them, even if I'm not here. Right. And
yeah, exactly. And you're still taking care of your family by doing this, protecting the value of your practice, protecting your team, and protecting your legacy. Because if people come in and pick your practice apart, Panorex by patient charts, by this chair and your autoclave, your legacy is not going to, your staff doesn't know what to do. It's just better all around. So to answer your question, they come in, and I sit down and talk to them, usually like this, depending on where they are. And we'll just talk about what's going on, what their practice looks like. You probably need a practice valuation. I think that's very important, a baseline valuation. And then get them started on the emergency directive, which is a downloadable and fillable document that I've created that is very thorough, comprehensive, and I'm happy to help walk them through, that will give them everything they need to transition that practice immediately.
I think one of the things that I think is really something I didn't understand as the son of a dentist, I always thought these dental practices had all this extra money in them, right? But they really don't. So your team, there might not be money to pay them 2 weeks later, right? And it doesn't mean there isn't a good practice. It doesn't mean that at all. It's just every business is make the money, spend the money, make the money, spend the money. So you also, if you want your team taken care of, so they're not left in the lurch, you need to create a strategy for that as well. And I think that you're also, one of the things in a positive way, Mary, working with someone like you're going to learn some things about your practice on your own terms, right? Mary's going to sort of look at your practice and say, man, I didn't know this part was so good. I should be proud. And then, oh man, I really need to put some attention on X, Y, or Z over here.
Can I add to that? You've said that a few times, doing things on your own terms, and that you couldn't have said it better. By having an emergency directive, you are directing the transition of your practice, whether you're there or not.
Yeah.
It's handling the transition on your terms, the way you want it handled.
And what I'll share is, it seems to me that even when people leave Earth with just a house and a car and a bank account, there's quite a bit of internal struggle with family members. Sometimes it's fights. Sometimes it's, I wanted this ring. So imagine, I mean, that's a house and a car and a bank account. A dental practice is such a complex being. And the thing before we wrap up, Marion, I want you to is that the associate dentist, so we have Dentist Job Connect. I'm very proud of it. We place associates, but that's not an easy job for an associate to go into a practice that's been emotionally devastated. You know, even if the dentist is disabled and still alive, they want to have it done the way Dr. Smith used to have it, right? This was a surprise to them. So don't expect associates to be lining up to jump and take over these positions because it's very difficult on them. And then, Mary, for the associate, how long are you going to work there if you're trying to sell the practice? So get as many options on the table early as possible, because I think that's the key. Get a dentist in there to stabilize the practice. Get a dentist in there to make it seem like it's running. And you can't just find these dentists reactively, be proactive.
Yeah, because the value of the practice falls so quickly.
Yeah.
Weekly, 5 to 15% per week, you know, when a dentist dies. So yeah, get someone in there first. Someone asked me yesterday, how is it different if you have an associate in place in the practice? I said, it's tremendously different. I said, especially if that associate wants to buy the practice, that's even better. You've stopped the bleeding immediately, but you still need everything in writing so that you can get it done quickly.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you sharing this, Mary. It's so important. Everyone should reach out to you and have a discussion about treatment planning things on their own term, but also what happens if it's not. You can text in Mary's code right here, but how can people reach out to you on your website, Mary, if they would like to email you?
Okay, so my website's thedentalbusiness.com. Mary at thedentalbusiness.com is my email address.
Awesome, Mary. Well, I know you get to do fun things, but you also get to do, I won't tell you, you help in some effed up scenarios, and that's just as much as important as the fun ones. So thanks so much for being here, Mary.
Thank you.
So that's so important. So if you heard that, take action, move something forward, protect your spouse, protect your sanity, protect your family. I'm ready for my next guest here. So I think this is a perfect combo because you go from when you're at a restaurant, something spicy, you need a break. So now we're going to go to Total Fun, another company named after food, a healthier food, Mango, the awesome Richard William May, who I love what he shares on the group. So William, I think you got to do this because I named my company Dental Nachos. If someone's watching in, what the heck is Mango?
So, Mango Voice, that is your, phone solution for your front office. And, just listening to everything that Mary was saying about how stressful it can be to be a dentist, I had no idea how much stress it can be for a dentist. Mango wants to be that very simple, laid-back solution, you don't have to worry about. For example, when you call in to a dental practice, that can be really the first impression that you're going to have. And you want to make sure that phone works, that the call clarity is good and clear, and that you're able to respond to people easily.
So what I want to interject with is, the old cell phone, Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell. Hopefully someone gets that reference. You're probably too young. If someone was walking around with a Zach Morris cell phone outside of Rosie's Taco Shop where you came, you go, well, that guy is really behind the times, right? Because cell phones now should look like this. But when you go into offices, and we're using Mango, you're an awesome sponsor. We're transitioning to Mango. So I'm sort of making fun of myself a little bit. People pick up those old-fashioned phones with a cord, and it seems normal with 4 buttons and hit this thing of somebody's number who doesn't even work in the company anymore. So what is Mango doing when it's removing traditional phones? How is your team actually enhancing their communication, but just kind of bring it to life with words? What does that look like for a practice?
Here's one of my favorite things. Obviously, we're using our own, service here in our office, right? But the call analytics are making a huge difference for offices. So, we're actually able to go into our dashboard and look at what times people are calling us the most. So it's like, okay, when do we need to be staffed the most? When do I need to have people at the front desk? This is when we're getting this many calls. This time of the day, we're only getting a handful of calls. And then we're also seeing how many calls am I missing? What times are these people calling? How long were the voicemails? And we're able to just pull those up very easily and look at them. And I think that is huge for the front office, for the dentist, to try to figure out where am I leaving money on the table, where am I losing business? Because if you have people calling in at certain hours and you're not staffed properly, and you're just missing those calls, that's just a detriment to your business.
I think you guys, I love that you're sharing that. I don't know if they still have it. I don't know if it was Craigslist. They had something called misconnections before like the internet was a thing. And it said like,
Yeah.
I saw you at Alves and you look nice, but I missed, you're wearing a black Nacho hoodie. Go, that could have been my soulmate, right? So they were like, if you missed that connection, or maybe someone goes, oh, you look like somebody who I'd like to hire for my company. So those misconnections can throw you up, missed calls, missed connections with patients could miss out on the opportunity to help people chew and smile with confidence, but then also the opportunity to bring in massive revenue to your practice. So it's so important. Tell us a little more about this. Someone's watching and saying, hey, I'm on board. I'm thinking to get rid of my classic phone systems. I reach out to Mango. I text this in. Do I do a demo? Do I have to take my phones and throw them out the window? What's kind of the process to get Mango into your office?
It's actually quite simple. You could call into our sales office. We could do a quick demo with you, or we can explain it to you all over the phone, and we can get you set up pretty quickly. And in just about 2 weeks, we could get you new phones sent out to you, get you on board with Mango. We're going to train you on this product too. We're not just going to say, hey, here's your login and some instructions that you don't understand. We're going to onboard with you, and we're going to make sure that you know the product inside and out, and that your practice is set up and customized the way that you want it, so that when you're ready to go live with us, there'll be no downtime, there'll be no misunderstandings. We just don't want a confused front office manager, right? So
and I think what you guys could do to show this, and I know you have customers, dentists, who are very resistant to changing, which is like all dentists, but then they use Mango and they would never want to go back. So when I do implants and someone goes, Paul, it was expensive. Is this? I go, oh, okay, Jennifer, do you want me to take the implants out and give you your old dentist? Like, oh God, no, it's well worth it. And I kind of have a funny time with them, but I kind of share how insane they are, because I'm like, you're happier chewing and eating your food. Who cares if it costs you $12,000, right? Or whatever it is. So with Mango, do you have customers that are really happy they did it and wouldn't switch back?
Yeah, I mean, our customer base is very happy, and it's always growing as well. And I think the thing that sets us apart, the arena that we really want to stand out in, is customer support. So even to this day, our average answer time for a support call is less than a minute. So if you call in and you need to speak to someone right away, you're going to talk to a person. You're not going to get left on hold. You're not going to be stuck listening to prompts, from an auto attendant. You're going to talk to, a human being who's going to give you answers in real time and make sure that you're feeling secure about, your practice needs.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you guys are doing is really creating a solution to decrease the stress of the office, but really increase the success of the whole practice by letting, you're just enhancing communication. It's all about ABC, always be communicating. So you can text Mango to this number, 215-543-6454. But if someone wanted to reach out to you, Richard, or just your general Mango team, what would be the best way for them to do that?
There's quite a few different ways to do it, but the best way is you could always email me directly. It's really simple. Rich, RICH, at mangovoice.com. You can go to our website, mangovoice.com, and learn more about us. And, of course, we have Instagram, Mango Voice Instagram, Mango Voice Facebook. You can find us there, too. We're always doing, like you said, we're the fun guys. We try to keep it light.
We're always doing fun stuff, and you got to come back to Philly and have nachos with us again. So thanks.
I want to so bad, yeah. I'm going to talk.
Hang around backstage for a minute as I wrap up, and I'll bring you up, talk to you. But thanks so much for being here.
Thanks.
Awesome. Nacho team, you can put up our boost code. So that was an awesome episode learning about how to protect yourself, how to enhance communication. We have Super Dentist Business Boost designed to help you with practice ownership success, decrease stress, know your numbers, how to hire advisors, how to help people create a team culture that fits for you. It's going to be all of that and more at Super Dentist Business Boost. Just text BOOST to 215-543-6454, and we'll send you a watch and pass. Thanks so much, guys.